I'm Shay Russell from mining.com.au, and joining me today is the Managing Director of Black Canyon, Brendan Cummins. Brendan, how are you? It's great to see you again.
G'day, Shay. Always good to be on and have a chat with you and mining.com.au.
Now, I'm thrilled to have you on because we've talked a lot about the successes of Black Canyon over the past few months, but I wasn't really around when the company started. So today is sort of getting to know more about Black Canyon and why you're in Manganese. Let's start at the very, very basics. Obviously, I've given everyone away the secret why you're in Manganese, but tell me, what is an overview of what Black Canyon is doing with their Manganese project now?
Yeah, so Black Canyon, we listed on the ASX in May 2021. There was a flurry of IPOs in that stage as well. So we sort of joined the ranks of those. We had the structure in place to look at manganese. We did a joint venture with another company, and we picked up 2,500 square kilometres of tenure up there in the East Pilbara. So that was our backyard, massive area to go and explore. We raised $5 million and went out there pretty hard, particularly in the early days. We had a lot of ground that we had to review. And so that was really the start of the company. Fast forward the clock, 3 years? And we've got the largest manganese deposits now in Western Australia and the second largest in WA. So that's really been quite a journey for the company. And we really went through that early exploration discovery phase quite quickly and have jumped into more advanced studies, environmental studies, scoping studies, and sort of moving more towards the feasibility studies as well with the company. So manganese, that's what we're looking for. It's the fifth most consumed metal on the planet. So it's one of those metals that is non-substitutable. You can't replace it. It has to go on the steel. About 10 kilos of manganese into every ton of steel. So that gives you a bit of an idea of how much manganese is used in day-to-day items. So and also, obviously in the lithium-ion batteries as well, you're getting a lot more manganese utilisation in those across that space as well. So that's a bit of a snapshot, I guess, of the history of Black Canyon. We're a pretty small team. There's myself and the field manager, and we run all the projects. We've had 3 RC drill programs out there since we started, and I was on the first drill program out there. And I'll be dusting off the boots and heading out to site probably late next week, and we'll be doing our fourth RC drill program on a fairly it's a new and exciting target called Wandanya. There's high-grade manganese at surface there, between 50 to 60% manganese, as we've released in some of the information. So we want to put a few holes into that and see what that generates. So, getting out in the bush is great. I'm a geologist, so I just love getting out there, and particularly a maiden drill program on this new target. Who knows what we're going to get? So it's pretty exciting.
Listen, as you so lightly touched on there, and I wouldn't mind just emphasizing it a little bit more, when you first picked up this ground, it wasn't a project. In fact, you and your team have managed to take it from conception to a project in a very short space of time. We're talking about less than 2 years, aren't we?
Yeah.
What excited you about this virtually unexplored area that you had?
Well, I guess the challenge of actually finding resources in these areas is really, and it doesn't matter what commodity it is. In this case, it was manganese. We had no resources. I believe that the ground that we had secured had the potential to deliver to deliver large manganese resources. So, look, I think it was listing in May, and at the end of May, I was up on site and checking out some of our first drill targets. And fast forward the clock six months from there, we announced our first resource. So that was really what was the excitement about that early stage. And across all of our tenement positions, we conducted field reviews, data reviews, and sort of helped to rank targets in terms of potential to produce large deposits of manganese. And some of those other deposits that we haven't spent too much time on have been the smaller, higher grade targets located south of Woody Woody. And so we're now, like a lot of companies, I guess we were looking more at the low-hanging fruit, delineate massive resources, really set the stage for the company in terms of showing its significance in the Australian context. But now we're going to look more so at some of these high-grade deposits. And Wandanya is one of those that I mentioned previously, but also Fig Tree. where we do have multiple intersects demonstrating hydrothermal style mineralisation, which is much more akin to woody style. So they'll be smaller targets, but higher grade. And that's that's really what we're looking at over the next 6 months as well.
All right, we're going to come back and have a separate conversation about all of the individual tenements and projects that you've got, because I think they deserve some individual attention. But before we wrap up today, let's talk about where you are. You say you're going out bush. Now, obviously, I'm super jealous, would love to be joining you. But where are you going? And what I want to know is, especially if you're planning on turning this into an operating project, a mineable project, what is the access to infrastructure like?
The Pilbara over the last couple of decades has just improved leaps and bounds in terms of infrastructure. Where our project is located, we're about 550 kilometres south of Port Hedland, probably only 120, 130 k's from Newman as the crow flies. Of that 550 kilometres, less than 200 kilometres of that is actually unsealed. So, I mean, that's phenomenal. A few years, you go back 10, 20 years, most of those roads up in the Pilbara were just not sealed, just gravel roads, just windscreen smashes left, right, and centre. But these days, the infrastructure is so much improved. And we've got Port Hedland, the port of Port Hedland, one of the biggest ports in Australia, if not the biggest export port in Australia. I wouldn't say on our doorstep, but within trucking haulage distance of our projects. And there's infrastructure there at the Utah point, which is a multi-user berth for for companies just like us to go and utilise. It's all sunk capital. That's money we don't have to put in to help build these things. It's all there. So they're massive. And you've got the regional towns of Newman close by, and other developing towns in the area as well. So there's a lot of support in the region. Mining, Pilbara is mining. You've got the massive iron ore mines to the west of us, the big four out there: Rio Tinto, BHP, FMG, and Hancock Prospecting. So definitely we're a minnow among our peers over there, but we know we've got significant resources, and we're looking forward to developing those.
Also, too, when you point out 555 kilometres, that's half a day's drive. That's nothing out that way. Country mile to get to
Yeah,
port.
that's it.
Listen, Brendan, this has been a great chance to learn a little bit more about what Black Canyon's up to. Please know I will be dragging you back on so we can talk a bit more in depth about manganese soon. Thank you very much for being here.
Anytime, Shay. Talk soon.